Repotting is an essential part of plant care, providing your green friends with the space and fresh soil they need to continue growing and thriving. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or new to the world of plants, this video will guide you through each step of the repotting process. Recognizing when it's time to repot a plant is crucial for maintaining its health and growth. Typically, plants need to be repotted when they have outgrown their current container, a state that can be identified by a few key signs. One of the most obvious indicators is roots growing out of the drainage holes at the bottom of the pot. You might also notice roots circling the surface of the soil, or when you water the plant, the water may run straight through the pot, indicating that there's more root than soil in the pot. Another sign is when the plant's growth seems to have slowed or stopped, even during its growing season. The best time to repot most plants is during their active growing period, usually in the spring. This timing gives the plant a better chance to quickly recover from the stress of repotting, as it's already in a phase of growth and renewal. However, if you notice your plant is severely root-bound or showing signs of stress due to a too small pot, it's better to repot immediately, regardless of the season. Before you begin the process of repotting, it's important to water the plant a day or so in advance. Watering helps to ease the plant out of its current pot and reduces stress on the roots during the repotting process. Make sure the plant is well hydrated but not waterlogged. It's also crucial to choose the right size for the new pot. A common mistake is repotting a plant into a pot that's much larger than the previous one. While it might seem like giving the plant plenty of room to grow, too much space can lead to waterlogging issues, as the excess soil retains more moisture than the plant's roots can use. As a general rule, choose a pot that's about 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter than the current pot for small to medium-sized plants, and 2 to 3 inches larger for larger plants. Understanding these initial steps and signs will ensure that you repot your plant at the right time and prepare it for a successful transition to its new container, setting the stage for continued health and growth. Once you've determined that your plant needs repotting and you've selected an appropriately sized new pot, the next step is to prepare for the actual repotting process. First, it's important to choose the right type of soil. Different plants have different soil requirements, so select a soil that is best suited for your specific plant's needs. For example, succulents and cacti prefer a well-draining, sandy soil mix, while tropical plants might need a more moisture-retentive, loamy soil. Using the correct soil type will provide the necessary nutrients and drainage for your plant's health. Before placing your plant in the new pot, cover the drainage hole with a piece of broken pot or a small piece of mesh to prevent soil from escaping while allowing water to drain. This step is crucial to avoid waterlogging and to ensure the health of your plant's roots. Next, fill the new pot with a layer of fresh soil. The amount of soil you add at this stage will depend on the size of the plant's root ball and the size of the new pot. The goal is to position the plant in such a way that the top of the root ball sits an inch or so below the rim of the pot. This space allows for easy watering and proper growth. Now, gently remove the plant from its current pot. Turn the pot sideways, hold the plant at its base, and gently tap the bottom and sides of the pot to loosen the soil and roots. If the plant is root-bound, you might need to gently tease the roots apart with your fingers. This helps the roots spread and grow into the new soil. Be gentle during this process to minimize damage to the roots. Before placing the plant in its new pot, inspect the root ball for any signs of disease or decay. Trim away any dead, damaged, or excessively long roots with a pair of clean, sharp scissors or pruning shears. This pruning can stimulate new growth and help rejuvenate an older plant. After this preparation, place the plant in the center of the new pot and fill around the root ball with the fresh potting mix. Gently firm the soil down to eliminate any large air pockets, but be careful not to compact the soil too tightly, as this can hinder water absorption and root growth. With the plant securely in its new pot and the soil properly adjusted, you have successfully completed a major part of the repotting process. This preparation sets the stage for your plant to continue to grow and thrive in its new environment. The actual process of repotting involves a few careful steps to ensure the plant's health and stability in its new home. Begin by preparing the new pot. If it doesn't have drainage holes, consider drilling some or plan to add a layer of gravel at the bottom to help with water drainage. Next, cover the drainage holes with a piece of screening or coffee filter to prevent soil from escaping while still allowing water to drain. Now, prepare your potting mix. It's essential to use a high-quality potting soil that's appropriate for the type of plant you are repotting. Some plants require specific soil types, so do a bit of research beforehand. For most common houseplants, a general-purpose potting mix works well. Moisten the soil slightly before using it, as this will help the roots establish themselves more easily in their new environment. Gently remove the plant from its current pot. If the plant is stuck, you might need to tap the pot's sides or bottom to loosen the soil and roots. In some cases, you might have to break the pot, especially if it's a tightly root-bound plant in a clay pot. Once the plant is out, inspect the root ball. If the roots are tightly wound in a circular pattern, gently tease them apart with your fingers. This process encourages the roots to grow outwards into the new soil rather than continuing to circle inside the pot. Place a layer of your prepared soil in the bottom of the new pot. The amount of soil depends on the size of the plant and the pot. You want the plant to sit at the same height it was in its old pot. Place the plant in the center of the new pot and begin to fill around the root ball with more soil. Tap the pot gently on a hard surface to settle the soil and eliminate air pockets. Continue adding soil until it's at the same level it was in the previous pot, but avoid burying the stem deeper than it was previously. After the plant is in its new pot, water it thoroughly. This helps settle the soil around the roots and eliminates any remaining air pockets. It also provides the plant with necessary hydration to help it recover from the repotting process. Repotting can be a bit of a shock to a plant, so it's normal for it to take a little while to adjust to its new pot. Place the plant back in its usual spot or in a location with similar lighting conditions to help it acclimatize. Once you have carefully removed your plant from its old pot and trimmed its roots if necessary, it's time to move on to the final and crucial stage of repotting, placing your plant in its new pot and ensuring it's set up for success. Begin by covering the drainage hole of your new pot with a small piece of screen or broken pottery. This step prevents soil from washing out while still allowing water to drain efficiently. Next, add a layer of fresh potting mix to the bottom of the pot. The amount you need depends on the size of the pot and the plant, but the goal is to ensure that when placed, the top of the plant's root ball sits about an inch below the rim of the pot. This space is important as it provides room for watering. Gently place the plant in the center of the pot and check the height. Adjust the soil under the root ball until the top of it sits at the correct level, about an inch below the pot's rim. Once the plant is positioned correctly, begin filling around the sides with more potting mix. Tap the pot lightly on your work surface to settle the soil and eliminate any large air pockets, but be careful not to pack the soil too tightly as this can hinder water and airflow. While filling, take care to keep the plant upright and centered. The soil should be firm enough to hold the plant in place, but not so tight that the roots can't breathe or expand. Leave about a 1-inch gap between the soil surface and the top of the pot for easy watering. After you have filled the pot with the soil, water the plant thoroughly. This step helps settle the soil around the roots and eliminate any remaining air pockets. Water until you see excess water begin to drain out of the bottom of the pot, which indicates that the soil is thoroughly moistened. Finally, clean any spilled soil off the leaves and pot and place your newly repotted plant in a location where it can recover. You may need to protect the plant from direct sunlight for a few days and keep an eye on its watering needs as it adjusts to its new environment. The repotting process can be somewhat stressful for plants, so give yours some time to acclimate to its new pot. After the plant is comfortably settled in its new pot, the next step is to provide proper aftercare to ensure its healthy adaptation and growth. Immediately after repotting, water the plant thoroughly. This helps to settle the new soil and eliminates air pockets around the roots. Be careful not to overwater, as the plant may not be able to absorb moisture as efficiently while it's adjusting to its new environment. A good rule of thumb is to water until you see excess water begin to drain out of the bottom of the pot. For the first few weeks after repotting, keep an eye on the plant's water requirements as it may differ from its previous needs. The new soil will retain moisture differently, and the roots will be adjusting to their new space. Monitor the soil moisture and adjust your watering schedule accordingly. Place the repotted plant in a location where it receives the appropriate amount of light according to its specific needs. Avoid placing it in direct sunlight immediately after repotting, as this can be too intense for a plant that is still recovering. Gradually reintroduce it to its usual lighting conditions over several days or weeks. It's also advisable to refrain from fertilizing immediately after repotting. The fresh potting mix usually contains enough nutrients to sustain the plant for the first few weeks. Wait for about a month before resuming with your regular fertilization routine, giving the plant enough time to establish itself in the new pot. Keep a close eye on your plant for signs of stress or shock, which can sometimes occur after repotting. Symptoms can include wilting, yellowing leaves, or a general lack of growth. If you notice any of these signs, adjust your care routine and provide the plant with the conditions it needs to recover. Remember that this process is a key part of ensuring your plant's health and longevity. With patience and proper care, your freshly repotted plants will continue to grow and flourish, bringing life and beauty to your space for years to come.